What the hell's going on, guys? So I actually got a comment from one of my subscribers asking me, uh, do I invest in a lot of options? So when that topic comes up, uh, at the moment I'm kind of like, ugh. So let me explain why at the moment I'm kind of in between on options, because I want to explain probably the best and worst investments that I've ever made. So the best investment I think I've ever made is my Square Inc. Investment that I bought, I want to say, back in May. So I bought it for about $22.05 a share, and I bought 107 shares. I think because I wanted to buy like 2,400 or 2,500 bucks worth of shares. Um, and at that point in the year, it already had gone up from like 9 or 12 bucks, if I remember appropriately. In fact, I should probably just bring up an additional. We'll get to that in a second. Square stock. So let's go to the past 5 years. So the IPO'd. I remember investing in the IPO, but I only held it for a little bit because it was kind of in between. But regardless, it dipped down into like the $9 or $10 a share back in early 2016, and by the time I got into it, it was like early May-ish of 2017. So it was like $22. So in the past year, I think it was like one of the best performing stocks that you could acquire and actually get a return on that year, because it was almost over 100% at that point. So as you can see now, I'm sitting on a 302% return. So if you think about it, I turned this $2,400 into almost $10,000, within less than a year and a half, which is absolutely phenomenal. But so just stating, this is my best investment that I've had yet. Maybe on par, maybe most likely better than the Petrobras investment I did in 2015 and sold within a couple months. But this is by far, 302% is by far the best percentage return I've had. However, now I want to walk you guys through. So here's what I'm actually sitting on, the actual investment itself. So Square, 107 shares, just like I showed you in my Excel workbook. $2,400 in total cost basis, ended up being around $7,000 in unrealized gains, 302% return. Awesome, right? Well, back then, I was saying to myself, okay, well, what's the likelihood of this thing going up another 100%, right? So I'm buying it in May of 2017, if you think about it. Buying it in like May of 2017 time frame. It's sitting around 22, 23 bucks. What's the likelihood it's going to go up another 100% within the next year, year and a half, right? I mean, it's already, quite expensive of a stock. The price to earnings ratio, it's not necessarily making money yet. So, what would it actually go for? I was thinking, okay, well, I'd probably pay like $20 to $25 billion for the company. It's got a good potential, but it hasn't really earned anything yet in terms of actual profit. So it's like, okay, well, $40 probably seems like a good price to sell, right? In the next year and a half. So what do? I go and I purchase a 2019 $40 call to basically offset and get $200, right? So I sold this thing for $200 to basically say, hey, you give me 200 bucks, I'll let you purchase these shares in January of 2019 for $200. $1.99 a share for 100 shares, $200. That's awesome, right? I'm sitting fat and happy. I'm like, let's go. Guarantees me basically 100% return plus $200. So my break-even cost is $42. It doesn't go above $42 in the next year and a half, I'm going to be sitting pretty. Well, if you could see this big negative signs on the screen here, this negative 2,000% and this negative $5,000 doesn't mean I've necessarily lost, like somebody's taken $5,000 from me or I owe somebody $5,000. What it basically means is it's offsetting the $7,000 that I have here. So basically what it's saying is, you know, I sold this for $2. Now basically I owe $4,700, right? In terms of offsetting the positives associated with this. So what it's basically saying is for the 100 shares that I basically sold above $42 per share, right? Because a $40 call, $2 premium that I attained, I'm basically going to lose that amount, which ends up being around $47, if that makes sense. So best and worst investment I've definitely ever done. Do I get involved with options? Yes. In this particular case, I wish that I didn't necessarily get involved in an option. You can see down here I have a Turkey ETF option open. I have a couple GE options open. Basically, it's me trying to get a little cute, get into the options market. I've had a couple $100 increases buying covered call, or buying just regular calls on the market. One with Kroger a couple years ago, or maybe it was earlier this year or last year. But yeah, in this particular case, me buying an option basically wiped out, almost $5,000 worth of, equity. The only problem I probably should have recognized is like maybe I should have bought 200 shares of this bad boy and only sold one, call of it, and I would be sitting a lot happier. But everything's golden in hindsight. Anyway, I still think it's way overpriced at the moment for the company, considering $35 billion and it hasn't really made any profit yet. But it's a different story for a different day. But yes, I do dabble in options. Otherwise, I would be sitting on, a pretty extensive capital gain. And I probably would sell it at this point because it's over a year. And so, probably sell it, take this money, invest it in something that actually pays a good dividend, and, call it a day. Because you think about it, $10,000 worth of something that pays, the $4 to $6 dividends, $400 to $600, 4 to 6% dividends, $400 to $600 a year, I now get, which is, $40 to $60 a month, in terms of, passive income that I can, pay off my my phone bill or some other, if I go to the movies once or twice and take a date or whatever. But unfortunately, some of it is being hit. Regardless, even if you take into account this, it's still a really good return, right? So even if this bad boy does, get called away, which it will, in January of 2019, I still almost doubled my money. You think about it, which is, relatively good within a year and a half. It just could have been one of the best investments of all time, comparatively to what actually ends up happening. The only saving grace is that I have 7 extra shares over, because if you don't know already, options, buying one option means you're basically controlling 100 shares, and I have 107 shares. So basically, I have 7 shares at about $140, but at the moment, it's actually like $560 or whatever. So, when it's all said and done, I have some called away. Maybe I'll just hold on to those 7 shares forever and see where Square takes me. But it is what it is. So, just wanted to tell you guys my best and worst investment and answer that gentleman's question of whether or not I invest in options. The answer is yes. Here's a pretty good example of that. So, like always, love to hear you guys' comments down below. This was a comment that I answered in terms of a video. But haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I'll try to make videos as much as I can. And if I don't talk to you guys in the next couple days, I'll see you guys when I make the next video. Take care.